on red-winged parrots.
I'm Murray. I've been a member of the Society for 12 months now. I came along to the Neophema mini conference almost 12 months ago and joined up then, and have been coming along to the meetings ever since. Paul asked me to do a presentation on one of my favourite parrots, the red-winged parrot. Basically, most of you would be familiar with the red-winged parrot or crimson-winged parrot as they're known. If you're not, they're a similar sized bird to a king parrot, about 30, 32 centimetres in size, a stocky-built parrot. But basically, I won't go into a full-on description describing every feather of them, but it's pretty obvious which is the mature hen and which is the mature cock there. Unfortunately, the photos that I've taken haven't been able to capture the bright, vivid blue rump that the cock in particular has. And photographs don't seem to do them justice. They're one of those birds that you see them in the sunshine, the green just glows and the beautiful blue tinge on the crown.
Murray, could you speak up, please? I can't.
Oh, sorry.
You. And I can't see through you either. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. How about I?
If you sit down or something, then that'd be great.
All unslotted to be my slide. Yeah, so they're one of those birds that take a long time to molt into adult plumage. The young, on leaving the nest, resemble the adult hen. Really the only way to tell them is their eye is a solid dark colour rather than having the red iris that the adult hen has. And the cocks don't get their full colour until into their third year. They start with just a few black feathers breaking through on the back, which is the first telltale sign. But I find we really need to have them DNA sexed when they're young to be able to know what pairs you have, or you're waiting forever to know what you've got. Next, thanks. Yeah, in the wild, the nominate subspecies, which is probably 99% of the aviary population these days, of Prosmictus erythropterus. It's found throughout northern New South Wales, northeast and South Australia, and most of Queensland, whereas the subspecies Prosmictus erythropterus coccidiopterus, how's my Latin, Graham?
Pretty good. We're very
Sounds like it's got coccidiosis. Inhabits the northern, the top end basically from the Kimberley right across to Cape York, and also found in southern New Guinea. It's interesting that Paul Solomon, who I believe is doing a presentation next month on the golden-shouldered parrot that he's seen breeding in the wild, he was telling me the other day that he did see that subspecies at Cape York, and he said it's a bit smaller, yellower bird with a greyer back, I believe. But as far as I know, I'm not aware of anyone keeping those in captivity. Does anyone else know of anything other than the main bird being kept? Next, thanks. Yes, so it has quite an extensive range, and its habitat is very varied, including everything from open eucalypt forest to edges of rainforest, casuarina groves, and even mangroves of the north coast. It's generally seen in pairs, but occasionally larger flocks of up to 20 birds in the non-breeding season if they're searching for a food source that's available in a limited area. They're nomadic in behaviour and diet in the wild includes seeds, fruits, various nuts, blossoms, nectar and insects. Mine have never in captivity eaten any insects, maybe a few aphids on some thistles I've given them, but they apparently do in the wild. And the nesting in the wild takes place in hollow limbs or trees close to the water, and similar to the king parrot, they nest in, they have a very deep nest, so the entrance to the nest can be several metres off the ground, with the eggs being laid close to ground level. Next, thanks. So in captivity, they're quite established as an aviary bird. Their status is, well established and popular both in this country and overseas. They may have suffered a little bit in recent years, with the focus being more on the foreign parrots or the macaws imported, but there's still enough people liking them. And I thought it was interesting to note that most parrot fanciers would know Joe Forshaw and Bill Cooper's famous books, Parrots of the World and the spin-off Australian Parrots. When he mentioned that they had a reputation for being short-lived and a poor breeder, you have to take into consideration that that was in 1981, and I'm pleased to say that since then, just about the only birds available are captive bred birds that aren't as stressed as in the 70s and 80s. You know, I think back as a kid going to pet shops with Nick, like Canary Island at West Ryde down the road, or places like that, you'd see the shipments of, you know, the red cap parrots are coming from WA looking stressed, the Port Lincolns and 28s from South Australia, and then you'd see a shipment from Queensland of crimson wings, you know, with no tails, with their head tucked in their back, looking like the last 5 minutes in an aviary sort of thing. Fortunately, you know, maybe some illegal trapping still goes on, but I don't know why people would bother these days, because they're so established in captivity and they're far more suited to aviary life that they're a lot hardier these days. In fact, I still have, from the original 2 pairs I still have the cockboard birds that I bought in 1995, and they're still alive and well and breeding. The hens died when they were about 15 or 16 years old, but the cocks are still going strong. Makes sense. Housing, they are suited to both conventional or suspended aviaries. I use conventional aviaries only because it's the same aviaries that I've moved house twice with, and I've just sort of put them up again and have the birds in it, but there's no reason why you couldn't have them in suspended aviaries. And being a very arboreal bird in the wild, living in the treetops and feeding in the treetops, they don't often go to the ground, so I think you know, suspended aviary would be just as suitable as the aviaries I have. My breeding pairs are housed in aviaries 5 metres long by 1 metre wide by 2 metres high, and I do think that is luxurious for them. I don't think that aviaries have to be that big. The young, when they leave the nest, can flap around a bit, and if in a smaller aviary they're more settled. 1 pair per aviary, as the cocks will fight, although I find when they've bred I leave the young in the aviary with them until the next breeding season, and the cocks are fine with them there. So that's the setup I have for the red wings. I have the neophemas in the suspended aviaries on the left, and then 3 breeding pairs in 6 of those flights. I tend to have a pair of red wings, another species of parrot, pair of red wings, another species of parrots. I've got, say, Major Mitchells and red caps in between them, and I find when they can see each other and hear each other but not attack each other through the wire, it tends to stimulate them at breeding time. And you know, just at the moment they're flying up and down and looking in the nests, and I'm sure if they didn't have that interaction with other pairs a few doors down, you know, it wouldn't be quite as good. Makes sense. Yes, that's a bit more of a close-up. It's a fairly simple aviary. The back section is just a common old garden shed, 6 metres by 3 metres on a slab.
Sorry.
With the 2 metre flight at the front made out of the old 3/4 inch galvanised water pipe. Yeah, just the unroofed flight where they can have access to sun and rain as they feel. Diet, that cockbird there is one of the 20-year-old ones eating some thistle. He eats out of my hand. I was hoping I could get my iPhone and take a photo of him sitting on my hand, but he was a bit camera shy. That's the best I could get there. So the basic seed I use is just, you know, your average small parrot mix, or peach face mix, as it's called, with the plain canary, hulled oats, white millet, pannikins, safflower, sunflower. Not strictly those particular seeds. It will vary from, you know, commercial brand of seed, but I find just your normal small parrot mix is there, does me for the staple diet. They love fruit, very fond of apples, peas and corn, carrots, silk beet. The list goes on and on. That's really just off the top of my head what I was feeding them that day. And I find in the off-breeding season, I don't give quite as much of the fruit or the soaked seed, and then coming up to the breeding season, like now, if I'm stimulating them, bringing them into condition by giving them some more exciting food, they tend to take off and breed better that way. Seeding grasses are fed as seasonally available, and I'm fortunate in my backyard I can just sort of walk around the perimeter of the yard, and that was just the shot I took as I picked some the other day, some winter grass, some panics, and Johnson grass, chickweed, milk thistle, and then you'll find as the seasons change, there might be some wild oats there, or there might be some dandelions instead of the thistle, but they tend to just totally destroy anything like that I put in front of them. And the native blossoms, gum blossoms, so the one on the far right there is a melaleuca, where they eat the flowers and the little woody nuts that are on it. I don't know what nutritional value there is in the flowers, but they certainly love munching away on them. And cuttlefish bone and shell grit goes without saying,